Hey guys, AuspiciousAussie here, and welcome to episode 2 of Valkyrie Pro Wrestling. Now, if for some reason you missed the first episode, I really do recommend going back, checking that out. But today we're getting into Fight or Flight, and basically our main event for this show is going to determine our second number one contender that will compete at our third event, which is going to be Thunderground for our first ever World Championship. So it's going to be our first ever actual title belt that will be on the line. That'll be on the line in the next episode. We're going to gear up to actually, get our two. Well, we already have one of our contenders, but we're going to gear up to get our second contender for that show. Anyway, there are a few things I want to show you very quickly and talk about as well. If you do want to play TEW 2020, you can find a link for that down in the description down below. It does help the channel out, and I do appreciate it if you use that link to buy the game. Anyway, also, just a PSA, thank you very much. Really appreciate all the support on the first episode, guys. It really means a lot. Like I said, I've been really looking forward to getting this series out there. And now that I have, I'm really just excited to play. I'm really excited. As you can see, this episode is actually pre-recorded. But I'm just keen to get in, keen to play, and just make some real progress with women's wrestling in Oceania, and obviously Australia in particular. I'm going to refer to it as Australia instead of Oceania, even though New Zealand is technically counted there. Yeah, I mean, people just consider New Zealand to be a part of Australia anyway most of the time. Obviously, if you're from New Zealand, you obviously don't, and neither do I, being Australian. So anyway, we got the 1 point of popularity, so we're looking to sort of continue that growth. 1 point per month, I think, is sort of the minimum. As far as the finances go, as you can see, we actually lost about 31,000 all in all so far, on top of the 250,000 that we spent. But as you can see, a lot of that's coming in this second month as well, as we're currently down 11,000 due to the dojo fees. So it's looking about 15, maybe 16,000 per month at a minimum, I think. Because if we look at the worker costs, 1,600 for the last show, 581 in show costs. Now, before we get into the show, we are going to upgrade our merchandise. We're going to go rapid. It's going to cost $125 per week, but it gives us 25% of progress. Now, that increases a 50 cent per fan at live shows, and gives us $1 per popularity point per region from mail order. So let's start that upgrade. Let's get above Ramshackle, and let's hopefully start to make some money. Now, merchandise was something that I really overlooked early on in my local to global. Shameless plug there, go and check it out. So to get that right from the beginning is also going to be a massive step, as well as, of course, the ticket pricing being free. And we do that to get as many fans as possible seeing our shows from the get-go, because that is what equals popularity increase. Like I said in the last episode, we need to get as much popularity as quick as possible. So we want to try and get 12 points in this first year. 12 points, that's the maximum we can get, because we're only running 12 shows, 1 show per month, and that's how the series is going to go. Anyways, so if you did miss that last episode, I'll give you a brief, quick rundown here. We had Atsuko Ariyoshi becoming our first ever Fateful 8 winner, which is, of course, our 8-woman tournament, knockout tournament. Of course, we got the first round, semi-finals, and then the final. Basically, going forward into the future, obviously our roster is going to grow. But basically, the Fateful 8 is going to be the 7 most popular workers, and then we're going to throw in a young up-and-comer that has either tremendous amount of potential or has a decent amount of popularity. But I think for that position, I want to try and keep it to 25 and under. So obviously this first year doesn't really count. It's more just to introduce the 8 women or the 10 women that we have on the roster at the moment. But going forward in the future, it's going to be the most popular women being involved in this tournament. And then, of course, our other tournament, which is going to be the Queen of Strong Style event, as you can see here. That's going to consist I would assume minimum of 16 competitors, so 16 women being involved in that one. But I might even, once we get a little bit bigger in size, maybe up to small, we might go 32 women and have the whole tournament on one night. I think that's probably the way to go. But like I said, 16. Hopefully we can do 16 in this first year. Realistically, we only need to get another 6 workers that we could even potentially, get on loans if we decide to go with a partnership with either QAW or 5-star. So that's also something we're thinking about doing. Not going to do it just yet, but we will focus on it, relatively soon. Relatively soon. Anyway, with that said, let's take a quick look here at the prestige for the Fateful 8 trophy. As you can see, it started off on 30 prestige, and with 1 defense, 1 event, and of course it's Suko winning, it's gone up to 43 prestige. So that's pretty crazy. I'm really, sort of happy with that and the way that's gone. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the show. Of course, we do have some medaling to do as well. Unfortunately, I forgot to change my settings, so injury frequency was on medium as opposed to low, which is where I prefer it to be. I purely just do that because the fact of how common injuries are when it's on medium. They seem to happen. You seem to get like 1 to 2 injuries every month. I don't know what it is, but it seems, within 4 shows you're going to get an injury to somebody. On low, it still happens. It's still a fairly common thing. Every now and then, if you don't have decent workers that are consistent and safe, it'll kind of happen. And then of course, you also have the freak events every now and then. Anyway, Black Diamond, Calliope Woodchuck, and what do you know? 1 for 1 so far in the series. Medaling success. They have no negative relationship at all. Perfect. That's what you love to see. You really love to see that. Anyway, we're expecting 5 more fans, so we're up to 74, which is perfect. Of course, the economy is really starting to fall now, but the wrestling industry is rising, so that's pretty nice. Alright, so for this show, we're going to go with a fatal 4-way match to determine our second contender to be vying for the world title next episode. And the 4 women in this match are going to be Debbie Rose. We're going to go for Calliope Woodchuck. We're going to go for Thea Davis, getting another opportunity. And then finally, who was my last heel that I wanted in this match? Ah, yes, it was Kate Lilly. There we go. So there are 4 competitors. They are essentially probably our 4 top women, apart from Etsuko. So expect to see these guys sort of frequent the main event scene for us more often than not. And our winner is actually going to be Calliope Woodchuck. So it's a pretty big win for her. It's pretty early on in her career as well. Obviously, there's not a lot of sort of competition in regards to popularity in this match. If I wanted to make a loser, I would prefer to make, I guess Kate can be the loser. Not too sure if she has very good momentum at the moment after that first. I think she might have had warm momentum from winning her first round match. Anyway, doesn't matter too much. We're then going to have the debut of Rekka, and she's going to take on Joy Rider, who is unfortunately probably going to be a bit of a jobber for us. Probably not going to do too much. But it's going to be a successful debut here for Rekka. If I can book it to be decisive, that'd be great. So there we go. Rekka on debut. She's pretty impressive. I do see her as a fairly decent talent for us. Especially, I kind of see her as maybe like an Awesome Kong. I'm not sure. Is she actually big? She's a middleweight. So she's a big woman. She's packing a bit of weight on her. So that's pretty good. Because she'll be able to be that sort of dominant worker that we have. I then think we want to maybe go with Ariyoshi and Ruby Reese. I feel like that could also be a pretty good match. We'll give that 12 minutes. And this will be the steal the show match as well, I think. I don't really want to bury Ruby Reese because she definitely has a big future with our company. But we just need to boost that psychology up. If we can get that up, she would be a top tier talent for our company, without a shadow of a doubt. The 93 basics, the consistency, I mean, the stamina and the athleticism is beautiful. Sight to behold. Star quality is not perfect, but she's got decent charisma. It's looking promising for Ruby Reese. So yeah, we'll make that our Steal the Show match as well. Chuck that there. I then think we'll actually put that match second there. I mean, we essentially can go with our final match, and we'll have Black Diamond take on Aki Cameo. Maybe give that 10 minutes. We might give this one 10 minutes instead of 12, because I do want to do a couple of angles. And I think for this one, actually, we might even... Actually, we might go Black Diamond with an angle to open the show. How much time do we have left? We've only got 10 minutes, so let's reduce both of these matches by 2. This show is it's a little bit shorter. Okay, that should be good enough to get some angles in. All right, so Black Diamond's gonna have an angle. We'll give her a scripted entertainment. Actually, I don't think we need to script her. She is actually really talented. So let's go like that. She'll open the show up. She'll be pissed off with the fact that she was injured on that last show. Basically saying that the reason why she lost her first round match against Calliope is because of an injury. And she says, you know, if she wasn't injured, things would have been different. And then I think for the main event, we want to maybe do a pre-main event angle. Thea Davis looking pretty good, although it might be better to go for Calliope. Let's go for Calliope Woodchuck. We will script her though. A little bit wary. We also need to cut another 2, so let's just cut it from this match as well, and then we're perfectly within the time frame that we have. That'll be pre-main event, and it looks like we are good to go. Okay, as my chair likes to squeak, but let's run the show. All right, so we start off with a 42 rated angle from Black Diamond. It was superb working without a script. She had the crowd, can't speak, in the palm of her hand the entire time. There, like I said, she comes out, says that she was basically robbed of her tournament, more or less. Calliope Woodchuck injured her with a move, and basically she couldn't fight back from an injury. She had a bruised eye socket, could barely see, and basically Black Diamond's just saying excuse after excuse, really. And she says she's going to essentially prove everybody here in Sydney that she has what it takes to become a champion. Not a great match. We only get a 21, but it's not terrible. It's not terrible. And we do have Black Diamond defeating Aki Cameo in 10 minutes, 27 seconds by pinfall with a belly-to-belly suplex. Unfortunately, Black Diamond was really off her game, so that's unfortunate, but she is young, so she's going to be pretty inconsistent, and she doesn't really have, well, neither of these guys have the experience to be on their games at all times. But yeah, solid 20 in ring from Aki. That's pretty impressive, considering it's only a second match, and unfortunately only a 16 there for Black Diamond. But I'm assuming that her angle will probably give her a bit of popularity going forward. All right, we then go into a 26 rated match, which is it's a little bit better, and we do have Rekka defeating Joy Rider 9:34 by pinfall with a DDT. Unfortunately, Rekka debuting her badass gimmick, getting an initial rating of poor, so that's another unfortunate gimmick that we're going to have to eventually change as well. Hopefully it'll get better naturally as she progresses, but it's really tough, and they do get a penalty every match and angle for having that bad every match and angle for having that bad gimmick with that initial rating. So that's unfortunate, but we do have Joy Rider debuting her energetic babyface gimmick, getting an initial rating of very good. So positive with a negative. No pros and cons there. Badass gimmick has wins and losses having a greater impact on momentum there for Rekka. Anyway, we move on to a 49 rated match. Probably gonna beat the main event here, I think. I'm thinking that's gonna beat the main event. Anyway, we have the figure eight, the Fateful Eight, figure eight. The Fateful Eight winner, Atsuko Ariyoshi, defeating Ruby Reese in 9:38 by submission with an Ariyoshi lockdown, and Atsuko with a 54 in-ring performance. Fateful Eight storyline obviously gaining some heat with that after the two stinking matches. Well, technically only one of them was actually advancing any storyline, but that's perfectly fine. Ruby Reese with a 23, it's also not too bad. I'm thinking this is going to beat the main event, though. Alright, so we go into a 34 rated angle from Calliope Woodchuck, which is, it's not too bad. Hopefully it'll, gradually get better. But that angle's going to help her popularity no matter what, so that's perfectly fine. And of course that leads us into the main event, which actually does better than I thought it would, to be fair. We get a 45 rated Fatal 4-Way for the second #1 contendership for our world title. And we do indeed have Calliope Woodchuck defeating Debbie Rose, Thea Davis, and Kate Lilly in 20 minutes 30 seconds. Calliope Woodchuck pinned Kate Lilly with a La Magistral Cradle. There we go. #1 contender, Calliope Woodchuck. I have to say I'm pretty happy with her as our second #1 contender. She did lose to Atsuko in the semi-final, didn't she? Did she? I think she did. Yeah. So it's going to be a rematch of that semi-final. I'm looking forward to that, so hopefully you guys are as well. Anyway, let's finish the show. We get a 43, so that's it's definitely a little bit lower than our last show. But that's perfectly fine, as that was essentially a tournament, so there was going to be some solid matches, and of course we probably could have got a few better matches. The 21 from Black Diamond and Aki Cameo kind of letting us down a little bit. Rekka on debut with a poor gimmick, also kind of letting us down a little bit. Anyway, let's actually give some encouragement to Black Diamond, and then I think I want to praise Atsuko and Ruby. So let's do that as well, because their 49 together was really something special. All right, so there we go. Now there are a couple of things I want to look at. We just want to look at the popularity of a few people on our roster, just to see the sort of increases in, I guess, Calliope Woodchuck and of course Atsuko. Let's look at the size of the company. So as you can see, we're up to 2 popularity already. It's almost like a proven strategy at this point. 3 tickets equals popularity. That's kind of just the way it is. As you can see, we're also 1 popularity in both Victoria and Queensland. That of course won't really be too relevant, the sort of spillover popularity, until we are small size and we decide to, make the push up towards medium, as we've done so in the local to global series. So yeah. Of course, our first goal is to get up to 17 popularity, but of course that won't be coming until halfway through our second year with the company. So, yeah, we've got quite some time. Of course, we're going to get about 12 popularity. I'm assuming we'll get the maximum amount, 1 per show, for every event this year. Obviously, 12 months, 12 pay-per-views, 12 events, if you will. And of course, we need 17, so it's going to be 5 more. So, like I said, basically about halfway through our second year. Alright, so with that said, let's take a quick little look at some members in our roster. We've only got... The popularity seems to be going up very slowly with this company, so I've noticed. And I think that's because the product is a lot different to what I'm used to with local to global, with the coalition. Of course, that's heavily focused around... It's kind of both performance and popularity, but I think it does have a bit of a stronger focus on popularity, and angles are sort of rated a lot higher. So this company, I think, is more performance based. So it obviously it goes or it's based a lot more around the matches themselves, and the matches are kind of where the popularity comes from. I think angles will play a part, but they're not going to play as important a part as the local to global series. Anyway, off topic. We've also got a nice 7 here from Debbie Rose, so that's up 1 point, I think. Etsuko up to 9, which I think she started on 1 popularity. Yeah, so she only gained 1 point. She gained 7 points in that first month. So that was pretty decent. Calliope herself is up to 7 popularity now. Unfortunately, she's got cooled momentum. That kind of sucks, but she gained 3 popularity in that first month with the Fateful 8 tournament, and she's now gained another 4 from this month. So she's up to 7. She's looking pretty good. Unfortunately, nothing for Kate Lilly there. Ruby Reese is on a 3. And Thea Davis actually finds herself on an 8. Very interesting. She also got 8 points of popularity from that first month. However, she hasn't actually gained any more popularity this month. That's very interesting, that is. Anyway, I think that's going to pretty much wrap it up. Actually, let's do a little creative meeting. So our franchise players, we've got Thea Davis, and of course, Etsuko Ariyoshi. Next big things, we got Ruby Reese, number 1, which is good to see because I do rate her very highly. And then, of course, we've got Calliope Woodchuck. Apparently, she's going to end up single-handedly selling out arenas. Or is she going to? Probably not. Okay, so she's not going to be selling out arenas. Fair enough. And then Joyrider just behind her with the same sort of description there. We've got Hot Prospects. We've got Aki Cameo. So she's a dark horse for future success. And we've got Joyrider in there as well. We've got Talk the Talk. We've got Joyrider, Black Diamond, and Kate Lilly. Showstoppers, Kate Lilly, Thea Davis, Debbie Rose, Etsuko, and Joyrider. Our ring generals are kind of the same. They are actually all the same, with Thea and Etsuko at number 1 and number 2. Who's hot? As you'd expect, Etsuko, Thea, Rekka in there after that victory. That's interesting. And then, of course, we've got Debbie Rose in there as well. Who's not? Kate Lilly, Ruby Reese, Black Diamond. And unfortunately, Calliope Woodchuck is also in there. That's frustrating. Anyway. And we have 0 hidden gems because there are no women available in the Oceania region. Okay. So with that said, I'm going to wrap up the episode, guys. Please make sure you smash the like button on the episode. I really do appreciate all the support. And thank you again for all the likes and the new subscribers as well from episode 1 and now from episode 2 as well. So yeah, if you are a new viewer, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell notifications, and you'll be notified when these episodes come out in the future. And like I said, go and check out the Local to Global series. A lot of fun, and we're kind of telling a really good story over there as well. And I appreciate the support over there as well. Apart from that, guys, as always, take it easy, and goodbye.